Hey folks, back again with more whimsy. I'm waiting for a stock of new stuff to come in, so we'll take a break from the review videos and just talk about other things that hopefully you find interesting. One thing that I found interesting is that I do quite a bit of business with a guitar reclamation company that buys up huge vats of guitars, seconds, blems, fixable guitars, which they then fix in-house and then sell wholesale to guitar sellers, whether they're shops, stores, physical stores, or online sellers. And they did a video they put out a video to their sellers recently about how this lockdown coronavirus COVID-19 era is affecting the industry and sellers. And it was interesting to sit down and listen to that video to get stories about other sellers, guitar shops, that kind of thing. And I found there are three basic positions for guitar businesses or instrument businesses during this period. Firstly, those that have just shut down. They have a physical store, they have employees, and it's cheaper for them to shut down, wait it out, let their employees collect unemployment, and not try to continue any form of business. So that's the first group, and apparently that's quite a number of guitar shops. They're just completely shut down. And then there are others that are trying to scramble quickly for an online presence. These are guitar shops that sell physical goods that perhaps haven't put their stuff online. And some of them are have been successful in quickly adapting to selling online or even curbside. I've heard a couple of guitar shops have been able to sell curbside, which is interesting, following the safety guidelines, of course. So there are those that are quickly able to adapt, and there are those that are struggling. Those people who perhaps don't have tech savviness to quickly put their inventory online. Although I think it's quite easy with eBay and Reverb and local selling sites to be able to do that. I don't think you need a whole lot of computer savviness to do that. But perhaps if the store owner, if it's a small store and the store owner is an older, I don't want to cliche, but if it's an older person that perhaps doesn't work with computers as much, and they don't have a young person in there who's tech savvy, I could see that being an issue. So there's a scramble to move online, and some are successful, some are not so successful. So some are struggling in that area. And then there are the online sellers that, according to this distributor, are making a killing. That was the phrase used. They've heard from many online sellers that the lockdown and coronavirus has not hurt sales, it's actually helped sales. Now, one thing about this particular entity, when I watch their videos, is they're always trying to stay positive and not go into negative areas. They want to keep that positivity vibe going, keep encouraging people to do business no matter what. So they tend to avoid certain issues. And one of the issues, I'm an online seller, and one of the issues that I've run into is when you sell online, either Reverb or eBay, the way in which I can personally attract business on those sites is to list my instruments with the make and offer function. If I just put a price up there, a buy it now or an auction, a timed auction, which hardly anyone uses anymore, the guitar can sit there for literally months if people don't think it's worth that amount, or they don't want to spend that amount for a guitar sight unseen. Now, I list all my guitars as being having had a full luthier setup, which most guitars you buy online are drop shipped from a factory. So I'm trying to get the word out there. My guitars, I've done the fret ends, I've oiled the fretboard, I've set the action, I've worked on the intonation, I'm shipping it to you after doing all that, and that's why it's better to buy from me than, say, Amazon, where it gets drop shipped from a factory, or some random eBay seller that may be buying bulk and just shipping them right out. Um, but still, people are always wary of buying an instrument sight unseen that they can't try out, which is why I also sell locally so people can come and try them out as well. So that drives the price down. And the only way that I can sell on those sites is by having a make an offer function and allowing people to make offers. And during the coronavirus period, people are making lower offers. There's a perception from buyers that sellers might be desperate to sell. Most of us are out of work. So maybe we're a little looser. And maybe we are. I found myself selling stuff lower than normal, accepting a couple of offers that I probably wouldn't have accepted in normal times. The reason being, it's not just a financial thing to keep product moving and business flowing. It's also an empathy thing. You know, people say, "Oh, you know, I'm looking for a guitar for my mom," and I'm thinking, you know, mom's shut at home. You know, yeah, I'll take $20 less. I'll take $50 less and get a guitar to your mom. You know, not all sellers have that. A lot of sellers would just say, "Nope, not doing it." I can't help, you know, the empathy that I have. People buying guitars for their wives or ukuleles for their wives for not Valentine's Day, but birthdays or something like that. And you're thinking, well, you know, they're probably shut up at home. Be a nice thing for them to have it. So maybe sellers are a little looser and having to sell things a bit lower. What that does, of course, is reduce your margin. If you're buying guitars to set up and resell, and some of you are, in this period, you're making less margin. Everything's more expensive. Everything takes longer to get to you because UPS and USPS, everything's slowed down. So when you go to restock guitars, you're paying more for them, but you're selling them for less, so your margins have been completely squeezed. Now, on this video with this distributor, they didn't mention that at all. They just wanted to create this idea that online sales are booming and you got to do it. It's all positive and rosy and happy and buy as many as you can because you'll sell them all, which is fine. I understand them wanting to create that positive vibe. But they left out the nuance of the situation, and you know, perhaps some of you those of you that are selling instruments could report back to me on that through the comments and let me know what your experience is. I think sellers are having to consider smaller margins and selling at lower costs to keep sales flowing. A lot of people are compromised with a work situation or with a cash flow situation, so they'll just come to you and say, you know, that guitar you're selling for $200, would you take $150? You don't really want to take $150 because it's awfully close to your cost, and you got to factor in shipping and all that stuff. And then they just say, that's all I have. That's all I can budget for a guitar right now. I'm out of work. My wife was laid off. Blah, blah. They'll give you the story. And you have to decide then, do I take a lesser profit margin or do I sell at cost to keep things moving, or do I say no to this person and hold on to this inventory? And that's a philosophical issue. There are some sellers who will flat out not budge. And they'll say, you know what, this guitar is worth $200. I'm keeping it until someone's willing to pay it. And then there are others that go, you know what, I'll make $20 on this guitar instead of $50, so let's just move it on, you know, keep things flowing. And now if that person comes to you and says, I'll give you $75 for that $200 guitar, and that's way below the cost of the guitar before you set it up, then of course you're committing suicide in a business sense to accommodate that person. So there are levels to which you can go with this that you can't really extend any lower. But anyway, there are people during this lockdown period that are able to keep business going, that are still doing okay. But just because they're selling, it doesn't mean they're making a lot of money. That's the whole point I'm trying to put across in this video. They're able to keep, income flowing somewhat, but also they're spending more from inventory, and then they're selling it at lower costs because of the situation that we're all dealing with. And I've been selling moderately well on eBay and Reverb. And also, something I didn't expect is a lot of local people, when I tell them, look, I am completely isolating because my wife is very, very high risk due to a medical condition. So I'm not meeting up right now, but I'll ship it for free, or you can arrange to do a contactless pickup. Send me a Venmo payment. I'll put it out at a certain time. You can pick it up. And it's been surprising how many people have been willing to do that. It's been one of the great surprises of this particular period. And if you saw my sale rack right now, it's empty. I have a couple more of the wonderful Blue Ridge guitars available, but everything else has pretty much been sold out. I just got some solid cedar Tanglewoods that I'm going to do a video on shortly, so you'll see those. But I'd say 60-70% of the people that have cleaned me out in the last few weeks are folks who have been willing to do contactless pickups. They Venmo me the money. I'll be there at 11 o'clock. I put it out on my stoop. They come and get it. A lot of times they're wearing masks and they're isolating too. It's actually worked out really well. I haven't had any problems. I've probably done about 20-25 of them now over the last few weeks. And that was surprising because at first when this all hit, I thought my local sales were going to basically get killed. And it hasn't happened. So yes, online selling or curbside selling, if you like, has been able to continue. And us sellers online are lucky that we are able to have some semblance of business flowing during this period. I'm very grateful for it. But there is a major caveat, and that is the profit margins have been completely squashed. And I've even accepted a couple of offers and moved guitars out that were right at basically cost levels, and probably were not good decisions on my part from a business standpoint. But the surrounding situation, I felt it was the right thing to do. So just a video, a conversation on that aspect of this period that we're going through. I'd love to hear back from you if any of you have any similar things to add, or if you've had a completely different experience during this period. I'd love to hear back from you in the comments. But thanks, folks. Thanks for checking in. I hope you're all well. I hope you all stay well and stay vigilant. We're not through this yet. We've got a bit to go. So take care. See you next time.